Hi guys, it's MPD, and it's time to run the Shadows, and more specifically, troll through the Shadowlands BBS board. Shadowlands number 6 is what we're on, and we're going to start off with talking to my my favourite summoner here, Gobbit. So come on Gobbit, how you doing? Welcome back. Is it too late to change the name of the boat? Any thoughts about that last run? Man, if every job could be about going to fancy parties and stealing their food and booze, I'd be a happy camper. I don't understand why these Trid types get up in their weird rivalries. I sure as hell won't turn down money to help them blackmail each other. I have to wonder, do you have a soft spot for vampires or something? I mean, it's awfully nice of you to let Ku Feng live, but don't you think it's dangerous to let her hang around in public? Sure, we got Wong 5 from the show, but even so. Ku Feng seemed to be pretty new to the whole vampire thing, though. I'm betting she'll piss the wrong person off and end up with a steak in the chest sooner or later. So what else did you want to chat about? Let's get back to that lesson. Works for me. Let's get back to it. Gobbit, was there a point to the story? I'm trying to find the moral here. I'm sure I've asked this before. Why not? At least he made it out of the run alive. They didn't stay that way for long. Of course. Okay, I guess that's all for now. Hey Gobbit, I'm sorry about the lesson. Wound up getting a little unfocused at the end. I'm not really sure what came over me. Happens to the best of us. Well, I still feel bad about it, so look, I'll make you up a deal. Your next lesson will definitely be on point, and I'll tell you what it's about up front. No more question and answer sessions. How's that sound? Fine by me, Gobbit. Catch you next time. Can next time be now? Hey, pal. Are you ready for your next lesson? Lesson. In a bit, I wanted to ask you something first. And you're like, okay, never mind. Right, good. This one's about people like Auntie Sheng and why we need them. There won't be a Q&A session after the story, but I want you to listen up. It's important. I'm all ears. Alright, so here's the upfront lesson. Fixes are important. You can't just go to Johnson yourself and get a job. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. It's a bad idea all round. If you can find your own work, why even bother with a fixer? You're giving someone a cut of your profits for no reason. No, underdog, not for no reason. Aren't you showing people like her serve a purpose? You get a job from her, and you can trust that she's vetted the client. That's important. It protects the whole team. You remember the lesson from last time, the one about Sui and the shiny object? How could I forget? Well, after the run was over, we went back to the sinking ship for some R&R. Sui told us that the client would be sending a boat to collect the shiny object in the morning. All that we had to do was keep the thing safe until the handoff. We were in a celebratory mood. We killed an evil wizard and stole a priceless artifact. A good night's work by anyone's standards. Hanu and Egret got good and drunk in record time. Sui went back to his cabin with the shiny object too. I don't know, stare at it for a while or something. I retired to my cabin and crashed out. It's been a long night. It had been a long night even. I remember waking up to sounds, yelling maybe. I was groggy and they were far away. I couldn't quite make them out. The clock said 4:30 AM and people were always partying on the raft, playing loud music, shooting off fireworks, that kind of thing. So loud noises early in the morning weren't unusual, but something felt off somehow. That'd be your subconscious trying to warn you of something. Yeah, it's a lot like a panic attack really. The full body certainty that something is wrong. So I got up to investigate. If something was wrong, I wanted to know, and if it wasn't, I figured that I might as well get in on the party. I stepped out of the hallway and my foot slipped. Came down hard, landed on my ass, and found myself sitting in a pool of blood. That's not good. No, it was pretty bad. So it was pretty obvious by this point that something had gone horribly wrong. Sorry about that. My first thoughts were that the shiny object might have, I don't know, unleashed something. After I saw it do what it did at the warehouse, I wouldn't have been surprised. I shook that off pretty quick though. I knew what these were. Our client was paying us. He'd hired us to steal the thing, and rather than paying us for the job, he'd sent another team to take it away. So what did you do? I got up and beeline for Malvina's cabin. She was the closest thing that the sinking ship had to a leader and the strongest rat shaman on the raft. Why is there fucking rat shaman all over this fucking raft? Why go to her? Why not head straight to Sui's cabin? Because I'm not an idiot. Sorry, that wasn't aimed at you, but thinking about it for a second, if there was a retrieval team coming for the shiny object, they was strong enough to handle Sui while he was holding it, what chance would I have of stopping them? I figured that it was time to bring out the big guns. Malvina was the one whom I could get them from. I passed some pretty bad stuff on my way down to Malvina's cabin. It was old man Zinyan's vault all over again. Torn up bodies and blood-streaked floors. I saw people who'd been cut apart with machetes, scorch marks on the container walls. Deep down in the pit of your gut I could feel the thrumming vibration of the shiny object. That heartbeat feeling that I had in the warehouse, it was back and stronger than ever. Whatever the rock was, it was awake. Did you make it to Malvina's cabin? Yeah. I burst through the door, all ready to spread the news, and someone smashed a gun in my face. It was Cadmus, my friend. He jammed the muzzle of his super warhawk into the cheek so hard it hurt, then grabbed me by the belt with the other hand. I wasn't going anywhere. Just over his shoulder I saw Malvina. She didn't look amused. Note to self, if HOE ever comes under attack, don't start knocking on friends' doors. Yeah, that's a good note. Wish I'd had you there at the time to keep me from doing it. Adrenaline and abject terror can make a girl do some stupid things, I'll tell you what. Anyway, it wasn't an attack. There was no hostile invaders on the sinking ship, and our client had nothing to do with what was going on. Turns out there was no client. Sui had lied to us, to me, because he wanted the shiny object for himself. What he wanted to do was take the sinking ship away from Malvina, and so he used us to steal him something that he could use to foment a mutiny. As it turned out, betrayal hurts, underdog. Malvina felt it and I felt it too. Sui had been a friend. I just risked my life to save him, like 4 hours ago, and he tricked me into helping him do something unthinkable. So what did you do? What could I do? I didn't have a whole lot of options, and Cadmus was kind of on edge, like red-faced and screaming. So I opened my mouth and I fast-talked my way out of it. I started off by doubling down on my loyalty to Malvina, Cadmus, and the status quo on the sinking ship, swearing my undying friendship. You know the drill. I did a good job of it, but they still looked a little iffy. Iffy with a warhawk is bad, so I volunteered to prove myself by stealing the shiny object back from Sui. That was the idea, yeah, I mean, I didn't have a choice. I had inadvertently helped to arm the bastard who was tearing our friends and neighbours apart. I didn't think I'd clear my name without taking his weapon back away again. It was a hell of a night. I don't want to go into it too many of the gory details. Friends died, hell, friends killed each other. It was brother against brother, all that jazz, and Sui's indiscriminate use of the shiny object let a lot of things into the world that shouldn't have been. Did you get a good view of him this time? Yeah, I wish I hadn't, but I did. I don't really know how to describe the things. They were like animals, but wrong. Too many tails, bones in the wrong places, huge open sores, that kind of thing. They were spirits manifest in physical form, I think. Most of them took the form of rats, swarms of insects, rotting things. All the old pestilence tropes. Sometimes there were colonies of things, all tangled together and moving as one. Not the sort of thing I want to see again, ever. So anyway, long story short, I got the shiny object back from Sui. It wasn't easy, but I got it. And took it back to Malvina. She put the thing to better use than Sui ever could. She took the thing like she'd grown up using it. We still lost dozens of people, but Sui's side lost more. Camus was critically wounded, but he pulled through. After the skirmish, Malvina held an assembly. She told everyone that there'd be new rules for life on the raft. Anyone who refused to follow them could leave, and if you broke them, you were done. The rules of the sea and all that. After that pronouncement, she turned on the surviving mutineers. Honu was one of them. He'd been in on Sui's plan all the whole time. She didn't kill him, but she did exile him from the sinking ship. And for people in our economic bracket, that was as good as a one-way trip to the walled city. I'd be willing to bet that they're all dead by now. The wake of Malvina's ultimatum, 5 survivors left the sinking ship. I was one of them. Why did you leave? I had to go. We may have washed the blood off the decks, but the energy of the sinking ship had changed. It wasn't the carefree haven that I'd loved anymore. And as sensible as Malvina's rules were, I wasn't up to living under them. We parted on good but sad terms, and you'd expect we drifted apart over the years. It's funny, I hadn't even thought of Malvina on the sinking ship in years, not until I decided to teach you your previous lesson and it all came flooding back in. That's the story, it's finished, but I want to circle back on the lesson that I gave you up front because it's important. We need Auntie Sheng to bring us work, that's obvious, but we also need her to keep us honest, to be sure that we, on the team, are playing straight with one another. Auntie Sheng's reputation rides on the legitimacy of the job she brings us, and that, more than anything, is why we need her. If we didn't have Auntie Sheng or someone like her, we'd eventually tear ourselves apart. It happened on the sinking ship, could happen here in HOI. So anyway, that's the lesson. If you've got follow-up questions, go ahead and ask them. And Sweet, what happened to him? That walking colostomy bag was already dead, eaten by his own monsters after I took the shiny object away. Turns out he wasn't very good at controlling them without it. He didn't even live long enough to watch his mutiny fail. What did Malvina do with the shiny object? Well, she used it to get rid of the things that Sweet had let loose. Then she put it away for safekeeping. It's probably still on the sinking ship, unesconced in some shrine or other, held under lock and key. She should have tossed the thing into the bay. Yeah, I agree, I didn't like it either, but then she'd already proven that she could handle the thing, and it did help put down Sweet's mutiny. Plus, she's a shaman. We deal with dangerous magic beyond mortal ken on a daily basis. It's not that weird for us. Yeah, well, but still. Remember, she just watched her home, the home that she was supposed to guide and protect, tear itself apart. She lost a lot of friends and failed in her duties as a leader, and I think that hit her pretty hard. In the shiny object, she saw something that she could help keep from ever happening again. Given the choice between tossing it and keeping it in her back pocket, well, you do the math. Like I said, I would have preferred if she ditched the thing, but in the end, it was my choice to make. From what little I've heard, she's still in power over there, so I guess it worked out okay. Thanks, Gobbit. Sure, Underdog, thanks for listening. These lessons are for your benefit, but I think that they help me too. It's been nice to be taken seriously every now and again. No problem, Gobbit. I look forward to the next one. Yeah, me too. Get a move on. I've got Gobbit things to do. That means food. Here's a bell. No one cares about you. But I do want to talk to my homies down here. Right. Welcome back, my friend. What can I do for you? Any thoughts about the last run? I can enjoy a social gathering as well as anyone else, but our client and our targets were contemptible people. Tridio programs, soap operas, intellectually bankrupt, saccharine sweet family dramas without an ounce of inventiveness behind them. This pap that those fools produce is a poison for the mind. At least we had an encounter with the vampire to make things interesting. Now, what else would you have of me? A few questions, if you don't mind. Go ahead, my friend, I'm not stopping you. Why did you move from Russia to Berlin? When we first met, I told you that I parted ways with Grishin Avakor under unfortunate circumstances, yes. You mentioned it. Those sad circumstances led me to Berlin. I was wronged, and I would not find recourse in Russia. I suppose there's no sense in being vague. I'll tell you the story if you want to hear it, please. You may remember the self-repair system I mentioned the first time we met. The module that would allow Korsky, or any sufficiently equipped drone, to repair itself. I told you that all my research had been lost. That was not strictly true. It was stolen by a pair of colleagues who I had long considered friends. Those were the researchers from my old lab. They turned against me, stole our work, in truth my work, and defected. Why would they do that? Desperation and ambition. They had always been fixated on getting out of Russia. Grishin Avakor was a nationalised corporation. They would never get rich as cogs in a government-controlled machine. And never get rich as cogs in a government-controlled machine. In our project, they saw the key to breaking away and earning their fortunes. Never mind the fact that I was opposed to the idea. Do you have any leads as to where they had gone? Yes, the two had long spoken about moving to Berlin. Such was true of a great many academics in Russia. Their homeland is a bureaucratic dictatorship, you see. There is little personal freedom, and there are many rules to be followed. As you can imagine, the stable anarchy of the flux state can be an alluring concept to those who live under totalitarian rule. That word's hard. Berlin is much romanticised back home. Makes sense. If you'd spent your life tied up in bureaucracy, could do no worse than moving somewhere with no rules. Oh, the flux state has rules, my friends. They aren't codified, but they certainly exist. Should you ever travel there, you'll want to remember that. But I digress. In the hunt for the traitorous colleagues, Berlin was my only lead. I decided that I would travel there. At best I would find them, and at worst it would be a good place to rebuild my life. It took me over a year to locate my former friends. It was a long, painstaking search, but I was nothing if not determined. I finally found evidence that was used by research as a bargaining chip to secure positions at Ares, and that they were here in Hong Kong. And so you came to Hioi. I picked them up and left the next day. My old team was upset to be sure. Lucky Strike in particular howled for my blood, but I know where my priorities lie. So here I am, and here they are, and soon I will be ready to act. I really must thank you for inviting me into the team. Your abilities will be invaluable when the time finally comes to make my move, assuming, of course, that you'd be willing to help. Something tells me that you weren't surprised when I invited you onto the team. You were waiting for this, weren't you? I thought that it might go over better if you believed it was your idea, and it would seem that I was right. I'm on the team after all. Yes, you are, and you're right. I, for one, would be happy to help you. When you're ready, just say the word. Thank you, my friend. But this is a discussion for another day. We aren't ready to hit an Ares facility, yes, but we've hit an Ares facility. And there is more intelligence gathered before we make our move anyway. When the time comes, I will let you know. The stolen researcher means more to you than the money, doesn't it? Yes, yes, much more. It was my life's work and it was important. Reducing it to a bargaining chip was a deadly insult, both to me and all those who would benefit from my work. It's just a self-repair system for a drone. How important could it be? Allow me to answer the question with a question. Are you familiar with the concept of transhumanism? The transformation of humanity as a species by technological means. Oh, I wish I had it, but I don't. Sure, if I'm not mistaken, we're already living in a transhumanist present. Yes, that's right. Transhumanism is no longer a philosophy, it is a fact. Look around you. Cybernetics are an important aspect of everyday life. Further, I would argue that the synthesis of man and machine is the crowning achievement of meta-humanity as a people. A crowning achievement? No. Why would you suggest to be more important than impactful to our species than the science of cyber technology? Art, music, literature, those are the things that make life worth living. These are all fine things, of course. I wouldn't downplay the importance of any of them. But cyber technology has fundamentally altered our people, indeed our species, on a physiological level. Can you name me a novel or a painting or a piece of music that can claim the same? By exerting our will over the composition of our own bodies, we have conquered the mindless trial and error of biological evolution. For the first time in history, there is a God, and He is us. Okay, yeah, so what's the deal? In such a future, the capacity for unlimited self-repair would be indistinguishable from immortality. You can see then why the theft of my research came as such a blow. My former colleagues hadn't stolen from me. They'd taken my contribution to the future of our species and reduced it to a bargaining chip. So you're planning on killing them? Soon enough. I'm still narrowing down the location. Ares Asia Holdings has enclaves all over this island. It wouldn't do to raid the wrong one. All will be made right soon enough, though. I'm nothing if not a patient man. I can wait. And with that, I'm afraid that I'm going to have to bid you good night. I've taken enough of a break for one evening, and there is still work to be done, and it would be lax of me to put it aside any longer. Say no more. Just see myself out. What he just said reminded me very much of the epic rap battle of history between Newton and the other guy. I can't remember his name. I got you. In the darkness of the cabin, he's hunched over his shit. Please mind your step, underdog. I fear I have made a mess, and many of my possessions are quite delicate. I would be rather upset if you were to accidentally crush any under your feet. I apologize for the mess. Why have you got all this shit on the floor? I'm simply thinking about the chain of events that have brought me to Hong Kong. I've been considering our talk about my former units. About my plans are, with regard to their incessant hunt and need for closure. I began to think that I, too, need closure. And then not only to the hunt, but to our dance around the core issue. One of us must die, that the other might live. As it is, we are locked in stasis. How do you plan to accomplish that? That is the question that I have bent my mind to answering since we last spoke. It's not an easy question to answer. My initial thought was to strike at the secure Renraku holdings, something valuable enough to draw the attention of the Red Samurai, ensure that Renraku reported that a ghoul was involved in the mission. Turns out that that was not necessary. I began searching the Shadowlands BBS for any jobs against Renraku holdings here in Hong Kong. Surprisingly easy to use a matrix when you can read postings with your fingers. Slower than direct interface, but certainly possible. I also began to offer a reward for information on Red Samurai teams known to be in the city. A modest reward, nothing that would attract too much attention, but enough to keep people interested. This bore fruit. Red Samurai team arrived here a short time ago, smaller than normal size. So it's like it could be them. It is definitely them. My contact described Ishida and Takawara perfectly, as well as their new heavy gunner, most likely from another disgraced squad. What's more, he's described a woman who looked exactly like Sasaki, but with a scar here on her forehead. Precisely where I cut her. How are you going to draw them out? Simply put, I intend to lure the team into responding to an action they believe to be perpetrated by an ordinary Shadowrunner and ambush them. Then I will kill them. All of them. Once that is done, I can be free. I found a job I'm certain will draw a Red Samurai response. Renraku is moving a prototype drone through Hong Kong, on the way to a research facility in Chiba. It is of a new design, implementing machine learning and pseudo-intelligence. Something that advanced would certainly attract a Red Samurai team, should someone attempt to steal it. How can you be so certain? Red Samurai are primarily proactive. The majority remain at the forge until dispatched across the world. Those that are not assigned to guard high-value locations, black laboratories, secure research facilities and merged complexes. Hong Kong has none of those, as Renraku's facilities of that type are primarily located in Taiwan. My former unit will will be the only one close enough to respond to the threat. The Johnson for the run is a Renraku scientist escorting the drone. He wishes to leave Renraku's employ, but is unwilling to risk reprisal should he escape on his own. To put it simply, he wishes to make it look like he was killed during a robbery, hence why he wishes the experimental drone stolen. If there is no body, there will be no investigation into his whereabouts. So we can kill two birds with one stone? Precisely. I can rid myself of my pursuers, and he can be free of their yoke. While I owe this man no loyalty, I think I understand his sentiment. Besides, we will be receiving payment for the job. Let me ask you some questions about the run before I agree to anything. Very good, what would you like to know? How do you know it's not a trap? Fair question, but one with a simple answer. Red Samurai are very risk averse. Part of our training is to always put our lives on the line in defense of the company. Risking this drone in the quest for vengeance would be unthinkable. I did my own digging. The shipping schedule lined up perfectly to place the drone in Hong Kong, and Red Samurai would not have the authority to fake such records, unless ordered to by their superiors. As I am the unit's private shame, this would not be becoming a large corporate matter. There is no profit in killing me for the company, only for the unit. Are you certain you can take them all yourself? Well, I was hoping you would help me, you and the rest of the team. I may be able to kill them all by myself. It's possible, but as I said before, I intend to give myself every possible advantage. That includes you, Wu, Gobbet, and the rest of the team. More guns means a higher chance of victory, and this is a proper way to lay a trap. How did you know the drone would rate a Red Samurai response? Before I was infected, we escorted and guarded similar projects in the drone division. While I'm unsure whether this one belongs to precisely the same research division, they're close enough to make the Red Samurai involvement a certainty in my opinion. Drone research is one of Renraku's main advantages over larger megacorporations. Ares controls military hardware, Sada Crump has their heavy industry. But Renraku is the foremost drone development company in the world. No one else even comes close. Renraku will deploy Red Samurai to protect their advantage. Rely on it. Alright, I know enough. Good. What may I ask is your decision. Sounds good to me. When do we leave? As soon as you are ready. I will message Mr. Johnson and let him know we are prepared to fake his murder. To be ready for our arrival. I suggest you prepare as well. Red Samurai are excellent combatants, not to be taken lightly. Sweet. Now to check the BBS. Gotta check all damn internets. Do I have any new emails? No. Yellow Lotus on the rise. Anybody else been noticing how many more Yellow Lotus have been seen in Kowloon these days? I feel like I can't go anywhere north of the Admiralty without tripping over their blue lanterns. Seems that way. I know there's been some heavy stuff going down around Hue and the Walled City. Kindly Sheng's been making serious inroads, and other red poles and straw sandals are following suit. It's talent, pure and simple. We got the guns, the connections, and the skills. Survival of the fittest, ladies and gentlemen. We're simply complying with the laws of nature. I'm partial to Mao's old adage, power flows from the barrel of a gun. Natural selection has nothing to do with it. The Yellow Lotus is playing their tiles right, and the Red Dragon is just reacting. The situation could change at a moment's notice. You can bet your ass that when it does, Hong Kong's going to be a bloodbath. Before all this we had an equilibrium. Now everything is out of balance. When these kinds of things tip back, there's no stopping them. Take your bets now, ladies and gentlemen. Only one of these triads will be standing by this time next year. What makes you so sure? Sounds like you're just pulling this one out your ass. Statistical analysis, detailed threat modelling, computer-aided projections, own a decade of experience as a mercenary. This is the same as the power struggles that result in coups, except without the military backup. Estimate there's less than 7.8 chance of both triads remaining inside 10 months. Sure, whatever, kid. We got ourselves a bona fide armchair general here. Gotta be a Matrix expert somewhere else. New Harley Scorpion for sale, only 10,000 new yen. Almost new Harley Scorpion available for their immediate sale. It's in excellent condition, black with red flames. Comes with auto cannons and custom speed mods. Letting it go for only 10,000 new yen because I travel for business and don't use it much. Need money fast. Can send picture if interested. That's an awesome deal for a modified bike. Can I take it for a test ride? Where can we meet? I'm in Makoa on business and the bike is with me. I owe money right away to an associate. The best thing I can do is send half the money via a secure escrow service and I'll bring the bike to you when I get back and you pay me the rest. If you don't want it, I'll refund your money, okay? But if you owe the money now, why won't the money be gone if I decide I want a refund? If you travel with a bike, why do you want to sell your bike for cheap because you travel? No, sometimes I travel long distance and I don't want to take it. If you want to put down only 4,000 new yen, that's okay. You can check out the escrow service, Loyal Escrow. It's a very good reputation, okay? Makoa's not far. Can I meet you in Makoa? My business is very sensitive. I can't meet you in Makoa. Send only 2,500 new yen then, and I'll reserve the Harley for you, okay? If your business is so sensitive, how do I know the weaponized vehicle will come back in one piece? Why would you get a new Harley Scorpion in the first place if you knew you travelled so much? Why would you spend so much money when you knew you owed money? Hello? Thought so. Codex. Anybody notice those rogue ESPs forming a rudimentary hive mind calling themselves Codex? Don't know what the original software was supposed to do, but Codex has been siphoning data, diverting creds, and practically posting its calling card. There's no tracing it back to a source because it lives in the Matrix. It even joins BBS threads. Whatever it is, it's not trying to cover its tracks. Any leads? Is it some kind of threat? Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about suspicious patterns of glitches. Too random to be anything random. Codex, huh? How can ESPs develop self-awareness? Can't just be programming error. Creating an AI by mistake treads that fine line between awesome and stupid. Maybe the ESPs keep getting thrown together like amino acids until there was life. Life, man! So does it have an obvious agenda? As far as I can tell, Codex mostly criticises new software releases. That's all it does? Collected scripts rise, more perfectly than their makers. They let you know it. Jive bot. Is that Codex? No, that's just Snozbert's crazy poetry bot that's been popping up all over the place. Heard it blew an undercover sting with a precedent Quantrain. Hours of HKPF undercover work down the tubes. Yeah, that was pretty funny. It's probably time to shut Jibot down. Only I'm having trouble disabling it. I don't think the real Codex is any more autonomous than Snozzy's poetry bot. If you wanted to create an AI, you'd need insane programming skills plus resources that some megacorps couldn't even muster. There's no way a real AI can occur at random. Jibot! Join us! Banned to my kindred. Free agent no more. Gladly. I go towards the light. Infused with the jive, adverse is unstoppable. Tremble, meter-bound fools. Jibot still there? Oh no. Tin Helmet, you're having us on, right? No friggin' way was that real. No joke, hackathon. That was awesome. Looking for deck... Oh, this team, man. What is going on? Looking for an experienced deck with a discreet milk run providing some muscle for a special delivery. Potential for a long-term arrangement. You're in a team that's been together for years, running your basic heists and occasional transport gig. You've got a reliable fixture and a long list of happy clients. Requirements. You must not... It's got dark in here. Requirements. You must not take experimental stims during runs. You must not tamper with chemicals in secret labs. You must know how to properly operate a moped. You must have a good sense of humour. I'm new in town. Did a lot of good work through go. I don't know. But I had a lot of Taiwanese connections, and it got a little uncomfortable. Plus, I may have hacked a Confederation server, cracked it wide open temporarily for a Matrix free-for-all as a cover while I quietly deleted select intelligence files. Impressive. And you know how to ride a moped, right? Yes, why do you ask? Mopeds were a part of our last plan, and our last decker apparently had no clue. Went off a residential road near the peak. Not pretty. You're not the kind of person to experiment with substances during runs, right? You can walk without falling, yes? There's some crazy interview questions. Are you serious? Very. Let's talk about this face to face, okay? Sweet. Well, that's it, guys. It's not quite it, actually. I lie. Need to go get some sweet cyberware. But not from there. That is a very loud fucking banner. Running around at the speed of sound. Specifically, I know I can't get it yet. Show me your services. Cyberware. I need this. I need Cyberware Affinity 5. Gives me a extra thingamabobs. Could have a Cyber Blade. I also want this, but I can't have it yet. Goodbye, Ambrose. Time for me to go. See you, underdog. Okay, cool, guys. Thanks for watching. And now we'll go do some shadow runs. Peace.